I take a breath. I observe my surroundings. I look through my camera and I click my shutter button. A moment frozen in time. A new memory captured. My attempt to understand the world around me. Hi everyone. My name is Tourigny. I'm currently a master's student here at UNC Charlotte, and I've spent the better part of my life behind a camera using images to convey the words I found too difficult to communicate. Growing up, I'd often find my emotions and thoughts feeling stuck in my head, too jumbled and messy to share with others. So instead of sharing, I'd sit back with my camera and I'd observe the emotions, events, and environments happening around me. It wasn't until this past year that I had the words to identify the way my brain functioned this way. The words late diagnosed autistic have shifted ways in which I viewed my ability to process and understand the world around me. While not a completely surprising diagnosis, perspective shifting for sure, and a relief to have the words to share my story with others. Through the process of my diagnosis and my work here at the University Career Center, I found ways in which this diagnosis can be used as an asset that I can offer to future employers. Since I've spent so much of my time behind cameras, I'm going to use photography to help share two of the biggest insights I have learned: that when a person with a disability, visible or non-visible, is truly included in a team of people, can help cultivate innovation and productivity. The two insights I would like to share with you today are: 1, context is everything, and 2, you don't know what you don't know. Okay, so context is everything. Let me explain what I mean by sharing some of my experiences as a photographer. Let's say I get asked to do a photo shoot, perhaps an engagement shoot. One of the first things I begin processing through is what type of equipment I'll need. Some of the basics might include my camera and lens, perhaps a couple different lenses for various perspectives, my flash, my battery, SD card, and perhaps my tripod. When I use each of these items, they all have a clear purpose and obvious strengths. For instance, I know that if I take the body of my camera in conjunction with my lens, it's going to help to produce an image. But if I decide I need more external lighting, I'm going to use my flash because it has a different purpose. Now, what would happen if I showed up to my engagement shoot only with my flash, still expecting to be able to take and store photos? As you can imagine, I'd probably be highly disappointed because I'd be expecting the flash to work on its own in a context it was not designed to work in. Now, still imagining a flash taking a picture, let's shift to the workplace. Each person on your team or in your office has a unique strength, and when placed within the correct context can thrive. But oftentimes for people with disabilities, they get placed in work environments that were not designed for them, but rather they're neurotypical or non-disabled individuals. Imagine a person with ADHD working in an office space with constant distractions, or a person with autism who is expected to keep their camera on during a virtual meeting the entire time, or perhaps someone who's deaf using American Sign Language to communicate, but no one on their team knows a single sign. In each of these scenarios, you could have brilliant people not thriving because their work environment was not designed for them. Now envision these workplaces making small changes, perhaps allowing for closed office spaces or the ability to work from home a few days, or perhaps a company policy that you can have your camera off during virtual meetings, or perhaps offering 1 or 2 classes to teach sign language with some of the basic signs so your coworker can communicate with you. Now, I'd like to note all of these changes are small and not only benefit the person with the disability, but everyone in the office. And now these individuals are able to come to work to focus on the actual work put before them, getting their tasks done and often excelling at it. In a recent report given by TEDxUNCCharlotte, they found that companies that focused on inclusion of persons with disabilities over time were 4 times more likely to see total shareholder returns that outperform those of their peers. These companies also noted increased productivity, increased innovation, increased shareholder value, and enhanced reputations, to name just a few. So to those of us out here with a disability, I would like to encourage you to own your disability, learn what strengths you have, and what environments you need in order to be successful, and learn how to advocate for yourself. To those of you who are in charge of teams, don't go expecting that flash to take an image, but rather learn what each person on your team needs in order to be successful. Next, I would like to explain what I meant by you don't know what you don't know. Okay, let's go back to photography for just a second. I want you all to think about what you see when you watch someone take a photograph. Things that you can currently see. You can see where on stage I'm standing. You can see the fact that my camera is on a tripod, or what camera and lens and flash I'm using. Now, I want you to think about what's happening that you can't see. As I'm taking an image, you can't see the light that's processing through my camera to help create the image. You also can't see what settings I have on my camera or my flash. So you can't see my ISO, my shutter speed, my aperture. You can't see the battery that's operating my camera or the SD card that is holding all of the photos I'm taking. What you can see and what's happening are vastly different, and this is often true of our interactions with others. We can only see so much of a person's experience, but as people, we don't like to not know what's happening. So we like to make assumptions about others in order to alleviate this discomfort that we feel. For people with disabilities, this can often come across through actions or comments from their teammates, eventually creating an environment or workplace culture they don't feel comfortable discussing or disclosing their disability. We need to be open to the fact that we can only see so much of a person's experience. For instance, if someone on your team struggles with anxiety, much of what they deal with happens behind closed doors. If someone has bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, chronic illness, a learning difference, you're probably not going to understand everything that they've been through. But instead of allowing yourself to stay in the state of not knowing, allow yourself to take a moment to ask questions with the intent to learn. As this begins to take place, we can begin to give each other grace, eventually creating a workplace environment that teammate might feel comfortable disclosing, discussing, and perhaps even educating about their experiences. And in this instance, these people are able to come to work, bringing their fully authentic selves to the workplace, being able to bring new perspectives and innovation into your team. So to those of us out there working on teams of people, which is probably almost everyone here, before making assumptions or thinking that a teammate is making up some experience, take a moment to pause, allow yourself to ask questions with the intent to learn and the knowledge that you don't know what you don't know. I would like to leave you with this. Each person, regardless if they have a disability, has a capacity for greatness. But if we go around expecting that flash to take that image, we will always be left disappointed. So instead, seek what each person needs in order to be successful on your team, which can create new opportunities for your team. And you just might be surprised about how much you can learn from another's experience. Thank you.